I need to start this video with a little bit of honesty. I am a recovering League of Legends addict. I used to play this game a lot. Starting back in Season 2 or 3, I played it pretty much non-stop until they released the Vanguard update. Luckily, that was enough to break me from the spell that the game had over me, and I haven't played it since. I still like to keep up with the pro scene, and watching MSI or Worlds, there's always that little part of you that feels like, I can do that, I should go play that game again. I thought it might be helpful if, instead of playing League of Legends, I fed my urge and played a League-adjacent game. And I've actually played two, Ruined King and Bandle. But are these games a good replacement for League of Legends? Or do they just increase the urges? Let's talk about it. Now, one addiction I can support is to my YouTube channel, so leave a comment and consider subscribing to the channel. From the outset, the Ruined King sounded like the perfect game for me. It's a turn-based RPG in the League of Legends universe. Its cast of characters is, I would say, fairly popular if you are into League. Misfortune, Illaoi, Braum, Ahri, Yasuo, Pyke. They were checking most of the boxes as far as popular champions go in the game. But unfortunately, I don't think brand recognition is enough to carry what is otherwise a pretty mediocre RPG experience. I'll give them credit, they did a good job of taking the League of Legends gameplay and translating it to the RPG. Each of the characters' abilities closely resembles what they do in the main game, and this idea of lanes and how they apply to the turn-based structure of the game is a cool idea. Essentially, there's three lanes: the normal lane, the fast lane, and the strong lane. When you choose to cast an ability, there is a casting time. If you move into the fast lane, you will take less time to cast it at the cost of some damage, or you can take a little longer with the strong lane, but do more damage with the ability. It's a cool idea, but unfortunately, more often than not, the abilities that actually needed to use these lanes just felt like they had too high of a cost to be worth using. You don't really gain that much damage from using a charged ability, and it always felt better to just attack now, because attacks are immediate, and then you'd get a second attack essentially when that ability would have triggered. So you get two regular attacks in the time it would take you to do one charged ability, and usually those two attacks would do more damage than the ability would have. So it just never felt reasonable to use half of the mechanics in the game. The story itself is also hugely disappointing. I kind of discovered League is in this weird middle ground where you grow attached to the characters because you play as those characters or you play with those characters, and so you have either an appeal or you dislike certain characters based on your experiences with them in the game. But this game really taught me that I could not care less about League of Legends lore, and I don't think the people who made this game were doing that great of a job to begin with. Most of the characters are super annoying, especially Misfortune and Illaoi, and they are kind of the two that the narrative really follows behind. They were very overdramatic and cliched in how they were presented, and it just made the whole thing feel forced and made me not care about the narrative that much at all. On top of that, Viego, the Ruined King, is presented as such a loser. I didn't like him at all. He was not a good villain. He was not imposing. He was not scary, even though he's supposed to be. He just sucked, and he's not in the game enough for a lot of the narrative. Thresh and Gangplank are actually the main villains, and they get kind of disposed of pretty conveniently to make room for Viego, but then Viego doesn't fill the room that he's given. So overall, this game felt like kind of a missed opportunity. On top of that, there's a lot of side quests that you can do, but none of them felt very engaging either, and while I would do those that crossed my path as I went about the main narrative, I felt no motivation to seek out the additional content. Overall, this is a pretty mediocre RPG with a nice League of Legends coat of paint on top of it, which does help carry the game. I was engaged with it and played it through to the end, but it's definitely not a game that I will really remember. It was fun while it lasted, but it wasn't very memorable. Then we have Bandle, which is the other League of Legends adjacent game I tried to play, which is essentially a cozy Stardew Valley type game where you play as a Yordle. Again, it's fun to see Tristana and Corky and Teemo, but the game itself didn't do it for me. It's a very basic crafting game with very obtuse and unexplained systems. It felt like I was trial and erroring my way through most of the game. Like they intentionally didn't tell me everything I needed to know to complete the objectives, or it was never clear exactly why or how I unlocked certain abilities or didn't unlock certain abilities. Where do I get this material that I need, or how do I craft this item, or how do I even progress the story? It just felt like there was a lot missing, and maybe that's just me. This is not the type of game I normally play, so maybe this is just something that would be easier for you to pick up if you are familiar with these types of games. But then I would argue that's what a tutorial should do. The game should have done a better job at teaching me how to play, assuming I don't have any knowledge of the genre. For what it is, it's fine. It's nice to do the crafting. It's a very good kind of procedural type game. You need to do this, so you got to craft whatever item to let you then make the item that you need, or whatever. There's always some chain of things to do. There's always something to go collect. Again, the story itself is pretty inconsequential, not very exciting or engaging. It's pretty much an excuse to just get you from crafting recipe to crafting recipe. But if you're looking for a good cozy crafting type game, this feels like it could be a good one. I don't know. I don't really have a ton of experience in the genre. I think the major takeaway I've had after playing through both of these games, though, actually brings me back to some complaints you can hear about the main game, League of Legends itself as well. A lot of people give League flack for being essentially a ripoff of Dota, but dumbed down and less good. Essentially a copying my homework but don't let the teacher notice type thing. And these games both also feel that way. Ruined King is just a decent turn-based RPG. There's nothing really special about it. The story's not that great. The characters are cliched. Bandle similarly just feels like a generic crafting game. There's nothing about it that feels special other than the League of Legends coat of paint that has been put on it. That's only a presentation thing. That is not a gameplay thing. And both of these games struggled, I think, in the gameplay and core narrative department. It felt like they thought they would fool you by just having characters from a game you like. I don't imagine that people who are actually big into the lore appreciate what was done with these games. Maybe I'm wrong. But as a casual fan, it definitely didn't work for me. On the upside, though, it did fill that void that League of Legends has left. What do you think? Are the League of Legends spin-off games masterpieces? Are they best in class? Let me know in the comments down below. I know there's a bunch of other League of Legends games. I have not bought those yet. Maybe I will one day. I'm not sure. Are they worth picking up? Tell me in the comments. If you liked the video, consider hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and I will see you all with the next video.